It is Friday the 13th. Do you know where your freight is? Well, AI does, and it's going to tell you how you can get it. We'll talk about it right after this. Stay tuned. Just a minute or two. It'll be all right. Yes. Good morning. Hope all is well. I know I say that every time, but I really do, because when people are not well, they become ugly and hateful and all that stuff. So hopefully you're doing well. It is Friday, December 13th. Only 2 more Fridays after this to go for the rest of the year, and then we're in the 2025. So I have an interesting topic that just literally fell into my lap before I hit go live. And so we're going to talk about that. Had a good conversation with some people, and it's been a crazy, crazy week. Like a lot of stuff I can't really divulge, but I know that doesn't matter. But hopefully you got your coffee. I got my coffee. There's nothing like a nice warm cup of coffee on a cold, chilly day. It's warmed up here a little bit, but I'm glad I said that. We'll take a look at some weather stuff too. So let me get that tab up here. Get it on the ready. And make sure that you hit the thumbs up, like, and subscribe. That really helps get the word out. Because without the word, what do you got? Right? Without the word, what do you have? You have nothing. So, anyways, we got our coffee, and yeah. So we've explained that it's Friday the 13th. Oh, where'd my cursor go? There we go. So let's put the weather up here, and then we'll look at some freight rates. But we're going to look at a news article on freight waves real quick before we get into the low board stuff. I don't know how long this video will be. I'm watching the helm again at Like Trucking, so when things get busy, I'll have to let you guys go. So as you can see, we've got a bunch of stuff going on here. Winter weather advisory up here in the tippy tip of northern Missouri, the tip northeast of Kansas, eastern side of Nebraska, the little tip of South Dakota, Minnesota, and then all of Iowa. All of Iowa looks like it's going to be a bad day. So let's throw the radar on this here. See what that looks like. It's not showing anything yet, but you never know. That it always changes, right? It always changes. So you have an empty echo chamber without any words. Buck Brown, that is very, very good. So looks like we got some storm warnings up in Northern California. And then looks like Oregon and Washington have some stuff going on there in the mountains as well. So it looks like the Northeast is quieted down. So that's kind of nice. And then what's going on here in Florida and Georgia? What color does that mean? Frost advisory. So it's even nippy up in there in the Southeast a little bit. So Marty says ugly Christmas sweater in the near future. In the near future. Is that what you're getting me for Christmas, Marty? All right, let's go over the comments and then we'll talk about the article. Desiroki Pam, good morning. My name is Nobody. Good morning. Hope you're feeling better. Randy, good morning from Wildwood, Florida. Trucking with Tom, good morning from the top of an iceberg in the frozen Arctic. Minnesota. Yep, Minnesota's not looking great as far as the weather here. At least the southern part has all the advisories, so be careful when you're up there. Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday the 13th. Stay away from Crystal Lake. Yes. Isn't there a Crystal Lake, Illinois? That's a place, I think. Quick hit. Good morning. Randy says, hopefully last day in the shop. Money, money, money. Yeah, I saw a code come up. It was your air pressure. So I think they're making the repairs. Let's see. Covered Wagon Geezer. Good morning. I like that name. Buck Brown says you have an empty echo chamber without any words. I know I just read that, but I wanted to read it again because that's powerful. Supposed to be ice and snow tonight and tomorrow. Minnesota, Iowa. Yep. So if you're up in Minnesota, Iowa, it's going to be a little bit blah, ugly, like an ugly Christmas sweater. Charity Sharp. Good morning. Yep. Crystal Lake, Illinois. Right. So beware of Crystal Lake, Illinois. Oh, let's see. Let's remove this for a second. TK. Hey now. Oh, you changed your little dealy, Bob. Your avatar. Hated Shannon's tires got nailed in my hometown. Really hate she didn't say hello because I was home. Shannon probably won't be in Georgia for quite a while. she's had a tough go. And yeah, so I'll just leave it at that. She's had a tough go. She's heading back up north. I got her load to Kentucky, and then she's heading home after that. So, running the southern market, southeast market can be frustrating because you got that good money going in, but then your brain can't process that you're going to do the same amount of miles going north for either nothing or for very little. And that's hard for a brain to, so you go in there. You have to go in there with an attitude of we're going to get slapped in the face coming out, and your job is to minimize how bad that slap in the face is. Let's go to the DAT real quick. When you've got 1,500 loads going in and only 500 coming out, guess what? If you're not deadheading, you're going to take it in the shorts, right? So same thing with Georgia. Georgia's not much better. Evidently, I don't know my ABCs here. GA 1419 in and 889 out. A little bit better ratio, but you know what? The offset ratio in Florida makes that even worse. So it takes one soft market to create another market that might be good by itself, but then it softens that one's too. It's like an infection. So, yeah, my mouse is acting weird. Erie, Pennsylvania got hit with a lot of snow. Yep. Yeah, the whole stretch there is not doing great. I turned the big 40 today. Happy birthday, cents per mile. I hope you spend it doing something that you love. and you had some comfort today. How about some posted rates out of Miami? Van, we can do that. We can show how bad that is. Mrs. A, did everyone hear about the eagle that knocked the drone into Lake Michigan? Oh, wow. Good on that. Freedom. Yeah, and everybody's making a big deal about the drones in New Jersey, which has kind of created some controversy. So I think it's a distraction myself, but whatever. I'm not going to get into that. That's for a different channel, for a different day, for a different time. But yeah, that eagle taking out a drone, that's pretty cool. He needs to go to New Jersey and go, yo, man, let's go. So, all righty. All right, let's get the screen up here. We're gonna read this article here by Sonar. This headline really stood out to me because I've been telling you about how AI is infiltrating everything. You even have high executives for platforms for AI saying that this is going to be a problem. And it's just, sorry, I got distracted with the comment. And so you need to be aware of this, right? So Sonar releases coverage guide, an AI powered freight market intelligence offering for brokers, right? In a significant advancement for the freight brokerage industry, Sonar, the leading provider of the high frequency freight market data, has unveiled the coverage guide, an AI powered offering within its new broker toolkit. This cutting edge application aims to simplify the complex decision making process for freight brokers, enhancing efficiency and profitability. Now, let me stop there for a minute. I'm going to read that part again. This cutting edge application aims to simplify the complex decision making process. Now, there are already brokers using AI, and they will not budge on their rate. The computer tells them you can't budge. Their boss tells them you can't budge. You hear the terms, that's all I got in it. And it's only until you get out of that computer algorithm that load, that you might make some money on that load. Now, by that I mean maybe it has some extra stops. But as AI gets better and better, it's even going to take over that stuff. And look, I utilize ChatGTP all the time for various projects. Like if a driver has a code, I'll type that into ChatGTP. What does this code, blah, 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 blah mean? Copy and pasted it. Boom. It tells me everything that we need to look for. Right. If there's a book that you don't understand, you can say, give me an analysis overview of this book, blah, 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 blah. Boom. Cliff notes. Man, you know how good I would have done on my homework had ChatGTP been around in those days? Man. And so so AI is going to be used as a tool. I use it for my thumbnails on this video, on these live streams, after the fact, of course. So, I got this tablet that I can draw something and it'll turn it into a picture. Like that looks like somebody who knows what they're doing did it. And you can make it abstract, you can make it watercolor, you can make it sketch. It can, you got that meta AI that can take your face and make you into, doing all these situations, giving you a better version of yourself. There's even AI, women companion sites that you can chat with a AI chick and feel better about yourself. AI is taking over the world. So just like anything else that takes over the world, you have to know what its manipulation techniques are and how do you navigate through that, because you're not going to be able to obliterate the system, right? Let's continue. Coverage Guide offers a streamlined approach to identifying load prioritizations, evaluating rates, and ensuring optimal coverage tailored to your freight needs. This tool is designed to cut through the noise of daily operations, providing brokers with clear, actionable insights. Now, I wonder if a broker is worried about AI taking over their job. I mean, look at all the layoffs that have happened on these mega brokers in the last year. If you can get an AI program to make the decisions for the agents and work on half the agents, I mean, who's not going to sign up for that? I mean, you got another port strike looming because of automation. Automation and outsourcing is what kills industries for workers, right? There are jobs here where I live, like Solo Cup and Zenith. Zenith, they used to make Zenith TVs here. And those people have been working there 10, 20, 30 years and were making bank. Like they would have their job there and then their kids would have their jobs there. It was like a generational thing. Same thing with Solo Cup. And outsourcing and automation took that all away. I mean, look, the first time I ever picked up at a warehouse that uses the robot forklifts, it was eerie because there was one guy working this huge warehouse with he had a real forklift, but then the rest of them were those robots and computers, a couple of IT people walking around making sure that, everything was going correctly. And that's it. I used to pick up at, I want to say Solo Cup there in University Park, Illinois all the time. And they had reduced he had this huge warehouse and there was like 4 people running it. So, I mean, this is the world we live in, right? What's funny is this is an innocent stories, right? So you guys remember 1985, there was a movie that came out called The Santa Claus, or Santa Claus the movie, not The Santa Claus. And basically it was like an origin story of Santa Claus. And there's an elf there that he wants to get into the web of the future, right? And so he creates this machine that makes the toys at like triple the speed, triple the volume. Of course, after a while, the machine fails and all the toys come out as crap, right? They fall apart and kids are unhappy and they get mad at Santa. And so he quits and leaves and And then the corporate world takes over. He joins this evil toy maker guy and bad things happen. Of course, there's a redemption story and the whole 9 yards. Redemption, fish out of water, the whole typical templates that you can probably create with AI nowadays. And so back in the 80s, people were recognizing that this was a thing. Back then you had the automotive strikes that were happening all over the place. Why? Because of the robots that were coming in to do their work. Instead of a person hanging the door on the car, you have a machine that can do that. The humans still had to put the upholstery in and all that. But as far as, putting rubber grommets in these door seals over and over and over, well, now they got machines that can do that. So you can get rid of that person. And then how many times have you called a broker or your credit card company or anybody and you get an outsourced sounding person, right? Like Niagara Water, you go pick up Niagara Water, you're not talking to someone there at that warehouse, you're talking to someone thousands of miles away that is completely dependent on the computer and what the screen is showing them. And hopefully the broker gave you the right pickup number. And that's the world we live in right now. Drawing from the real world experiences of the Sonar team, many of whom began their careers on the carrier sales side, Coverage Guide addresses key operational challenges. It helps answer critical questions like, should I accept an offer now or wait? Or how can I keep rates stable while maximizing service? By allowing brokers to upload loads for the day or week and receive data-driven recommendations. This, and I've talked about this before, this was the purpose of e-logs. This is what the purpose of the tracking apps are. Yes, they want to know where their product is, which, we all do. If you order Amazon, you want the tracking number. You want to know when it arrives at your door so the porch thieves don't get it. But they also serve another purpose. Data is wealth. The more data you have, the more you can utilize and manipulate the system. Key features include rate and availability comparison. Easily compare what's available in the market versus what you're offering or accepting. Intuitive decision making, an interface crafted for productivity, enabling confident decisions even in a fast paced environment. In other words, it's going to think better than you, faster than you. Market condition tracking, stay ahead with real time insights into market trends affecting your operations. Now, that is something that, these are all good things depending on what side of the coin you're on. I look at market conditions. DAT works off the fact that if you have the 3 or 7 day package that's hundreds of dollars versus the peasant level, which is like $60, where it shows you nothing but the load, the person with the more information that's paying more money is obviously going to make more money. Now, I've had the full top version of DAT before, and did it do me a lot of good? Not really, because I wasn't an anytime, anywhere type driver. I liked my same areas. So I didn't know. If Oregon had some weird glitch that, there was a bunch of high paying outbound freight that week, well, it didn't matter to me. And so when I actually had to start paying for it, that's when I got, that's when I have a level that I'm happy with, and I haven't really seen a difference. But I do use other market tools like 123. 123's market tools will reflect some of what I'm talking about here. DIY says it's -10 this morning. Even my dog didn't want to go outside. I don't blame him. Buck Brown says, infection, you say? Bro, you couldn't have said it better. My neck of the woods, right? Directly related to the market down here. I literally just got back to work yesterday. 700-mile deadhead to the Outer Banks of North Carolina to load this morning. Yep. Shannon, good morning. Everybody saying hi to thanking Mrs. A. But he said his name with Dave. Surely it means he's local, right? Right? They lie. All right. Coverage difficulty identification. Quickly understand which loads will be straightforward to cover and which might require more effort, allowing for better resource allocation. In other words, the AI is going to tell you, hey, moving a load in North Dakota is a bigger challenge than moving a load out of Ohio. Or moving a load to North Dakota is going to be harder than moving a load to Ohio. Well, we already see that. When you see, like, when Georgia was on fire and the rates coming out of Georgia were crazy high because of what was going on in the ports and all that. Now they're barely paying to go in because they know they can get away with it. Look at California. California is a perfect example of that market analysis. Oh, you're going to get a good rate out of California, so you're going to get squat going in. And look, here's the thing. You may not like it, but like most truth, most people don't want to hear it. They don't like truth, right? The logistics sector it's a weird name, word, is notorious for its volatility. Let me start over. The logistics sector is notorious for its volatility, especially in the brokerage spot market where timing, rates, and coverage can make or break profitability. This is true. Coverage guide from Sonar aims to level the playing field, giving brokers the tools to not just react to the market, but to proactively manage their operations. This tool is about giving brokers back their time and decision-making power, said Julie Van Camp, Chief Customer Officer of Sonar. So basically, they want the brokers to benefit from this. Now, a lot of you have negative feelings towards brokers, and I get that. And here's why I'm saying the people that have the most information are going to use that against you. So when I talk to owner operators and they can't even get out of their own way, they refuse to run when their truck payment's $4,000, or when they, I won't do this, I won't do this, I won't do this, but then complain that they're not making any money. Those people don't have a prayer of, compared to what's coming. And that's a harsh truth. The spot market is a roller coaster, and you have to know how to get through that. You have to be able to know how to weather the storms and to utilize the calm seas when you got them. And when capacity is in the driver's favor, brokers tend to fall apart. They tend to get angry with you. Whenever there's a major change like fuel prices or a natural disaster, that gives the drivers leverage, it's very frustrating to a lot of brokers. You've heard it. They've been rude. They've yelled. They might say things like, I don't care about your fuel prices. I'm told to move this load at X amount. Do you want it or not? You can tell that person's frustrated. There was a time I called on a load. Normally the lane's paying like $1,500. They're at like 600. And it's like, hey, I'm calling on this load. Da 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 da. It tells me details. Perfect load. It was a good load, except for, yeah, we're at 600. Oh wow. And in my head, I immediately thought, you poor soul. You're either trying to move this at less than half the rate knowingly, or you have no clue of what you're into, or your boss told you need to move this at this rate or else. That guy was going to have a hard day unless he found somebody gullible or desperate enough to do that run for that. That's the spot market. That's what you signed up for, right? If you're in the spot market, this is what you're signing up for. The volatility that could be rewarding or damaging sometimes in the same week. Some people love it. Some people are exhilarated by it. And some people are like, I'd rather go back to dedicated freight. But then that has its challenges. That has its issues as well. I've been on both sides of that fence. Landstar, I was predominantly doing the spot market stuff because I couldn't get my foot in the door on the dedicated stuff. But then at Schneider, it was all contract stuff. With contract stuff, I was able to be more consistent, but at the same time, I never got any huge spikes after that. Like it's just my revenue was pretty even for each quarter, which it was good revenue. Don't get me wrong, but so when Jeff said, "Hey, I'm starting to carry you need to come over," I'm like, okay. I knew what I was getting into. I knew that the volatility was going to come back into my life, and then I had to make adjustments and everything else. But I enjoy it. You got to enjoy the hunt. And that's where we're at. Let's go back to the article here. Early feedback from beta testers has been overwhelmingly positive. It's like having a market intelligence officer in your pocket, remarked one broker from a mid-sized firm. Another added, the clarity on which loads to prioritize has transformed our day-to-day operations. And then they say coverage guide is just the beginning. Sonar plans to expand the broker toolkit, which will include more AI powered tools to provide more AI driven decision making based on Sonar's high frequency data. Craig Fuller commented, as the freight market recovers from the great freight recession, rate and capacity volatility will significantly increase. The coverage guide helps brokers prioritize freight that is most likely to be impacted by strong rate surges and get ahead of the game. By connecting Sonar's high frequency tender data to the track spot rate data and bringing in an AI agent that sits on top of the data, Sonar is bringing the smartest market intelligence offering to a broker's own spot board. As the freight market continues to evolve with its inherent volatility, tools like Coverage Guide are pivotal. At F3, Sonar discussed the roadmap for the broker toolkit, a set of AI powered tools that will help brokers optimize their time and decisions to maximize profitability regardless of market conditions. There you go. I've literally been saying for the last 3 years that they never want to go back to the spikes that we had after the COVID shortages. There you go. And you know who's going to afford that tool? The bigger ones, not the small mom and pop brokers. One of our biggest revenue makers is the small mom and pop broker. You know why? Because the stuff that they do can't depend on this yet. It requires a bit of personal customer service. So there's that. All right, let's go back to the comments here. Chi-Town Bound, good morning. I booked a load from Fort Madison, Iowa to start South Carolina. 860 miles, 2325, 45-mile deadhead, back to back 6,500 weeks per van. That's a good week for a van. Good deal. Back to backs are always good. It's icy and real cold out here. Last night was fun with the black ice. Yep, be careful. Chief Freight Hauler, happy Friday, everyone. Happy Friday the 13th to you, CFH. Pop Tart, good to see you. Hey, y'all. Heart, heart, heart. All right. So Marty wanted to see Florida. So let's do find loads. Create new search. Miami. We have a Miami, Oklahoma. That's how they pronounce it there. I'm like, no, it's Miami, Oklahoma. But let's do Florida here. Let's do a 250-mile radius. And because, deadhead, it's Florida, right? Marty wanted to see posted rates out of Miami. So let's go with the highest posted rate. $3,400 to go to Montana. That's the highest paying load out of, and that's coming out of Tampa. So there's a 200-mile deadhead on a $1.54 mile load. Now they're way below what rate check's showing. So let's take a look at this. Picks up the 19th on Monday. Is that Monday? No, that's Thursday the 19th. And then you can show up in Montana and probably get a white Christmas. They're way low. They're like at 3,400. Cargo Chiefs got this at 4,009. So what we do is we go to our market rates and let's type in Tampa. Actually, let's do Miami, Florida. I almost said Oklahoma, to Billings, Montana. If I know how to spell. They're showing $1.84 a mile. That's pretty generous. But look at green screens. Now, green screens is based off of your AI, right? And it's been as low as $29.72 and as high as $47.60. It's not giving me based on so many reports because really this is kind of not really an existing lane. There is a Billings to Miami load, and that's going to pay better than anything else coming out of Billings because you're going to Miami, right? Or you think. Let's view that load. Columbus, Montana, 36-mile data going to Boynton Beach, Florida. They're at 5,200 for about roughly 2,500 miles. And they're actually above the rate, the average rate here. So let's take a look at this. Is it multiple stops? Doesn't say. It's hay. Now, hay has its challenges. Hay has the challenges of clean out. Cleaning your trailer out can be a challenge with hay. And it might be a drop trailer. You guys have seen those drop trailers at Lowe's with the Tractor Supply with the hay in it. No, we're not saving this. So let's go back to market rates. So this is kind of generous, but it's been as low as $1.16 a mile, $29.72 to go from Miami to Billings. That's pretty low. But look at this historical data, though. Look how all over the place this is. It's actually not as volatile as other markets, but 36, 24, and 22. So it's actually kind of higher now than it was back when the rates were a lot higher. But of course, you're coming out of Florida. Florida is always consistently bad. Like I've never seen a deal where wow, the Florida market looks really good. I've never seen that. I've never been like, wow, I can get $3 a mile out of Jacksonville for 1,000 miles. I've never seen that. No. So there's your answer. Was there someone else that wanted all right? I'm going over the chat. If you want me to highlight a search, then the super chat helps that comment stay on top there. So if you got any requests, that's a good way to do it. Pop Tart says, "Happy holidays, Snorelord, everyone. Thank you. Happy holidays to you." Good morning, Steve. Says CDM Freight Waves is launching February 14th to 25th, a special tool or group for small carriers only to help make better decisions. Craig Fuller said it'll be vetted to small carriers. Wow. That might be interesting. Cold in New Jersey this morning, loading up for Georgia. Yeah. Get where it's warm. Shannon, we were talking about you earlier about how you've had some extremely bad luck dealing. Like, I don't think you're going to go down to Georgia for a while or Florida. Sausage and gravy biscuits this morning. No coffee. No coffee. That's a sin. Some rates are based off of shippers' perception and amount shippers willing to pay. Nothing about carrier costs. Oh, I know. That's been reflective of the rates for last year. And the AI is going to make that sharper. You know, that's kind of, I don't know how long you've been in here, but that I was going over the Freight Waves article. Are plants moving out of Florida looking at advantage van loads? It might be. There are Christmas flower, like, what's the poinsettias or whatever. There are Christmas flowers that do move. Those rates are watered down here on Friday the 13th. Brokers are cutting deep into the drivers today. Yep. Ain't nothing coming out of Montana, and the weather's probably going to be a headache, right? Our plants moving out of Florida, looking to invent a van out of Florida. I should probably call. Yeah, call. Find out. I'm heading to Miami, currently in Illinois. You're going to see warmer waters. WCF Invader. Good days, Laura Snores and rest of the crew. Thank you for your support. 2 weeks before Valentine's Day, reefers get a decent rate out of Florida, but the inbound rates drop also. You're right. And that's what this AI does, right? That's what's going to happen. Please check a rate for Mount Pleasant, Tennessee to Atlanta, Georgia, 53-foot drive in. Let's do that. Let's look at market rates here. Mount Pleasant. Tennessee to Atlanta. Hotlanta. Overall, it's 986. Let's see what Cargo and Green says. Cargo Chief's got an 807. Then Green Screen's got as low as 728 and as high as 984. So negotiation strength is up. Why? Because negotiation strength for this lane is high, so you can justify a higher rate. You know why? Because you're going to take in the shorts coming out of Atlanta. So that's and then there's pretty decent volumes. There's like 30 loads going from Mount Pleasant area to Atlanta. But then let's do a comparison. Let's go to DAT here. Let's go to tools. Let's do the same thing. There's a lot of Mount Pleasants. Atlanta. $30-day on this is 787. And its range is 668 to 880. Anywhere from 243 a mile to 320 a mile. Which is why I like 123's deal, because it kind of gives a like 2 different ranges. And then you can see the historical data down here. It's been as high as 1575 and as low as 725. And as you can see, it consistently has dropped over time. It's like up, down, up, down, up. So there you go, CDN. Snorelord, those multi-stop loads near me shut down next week for 2 weeks, just FYI. Oh, that's a bummer. That's a bummer. All I wanted was some sunshine on my face. Man, that was expensive. It was. In Florida, they say you get paid in sunshine. Well, not Shannon. I don't know how much it cost Shannon, but I fight that every time going home. When I left the house Sunday, I said I was going to stay out till the 20th, but yesterday I was homesick. Well, hope you get to feeling better. Not a real trucker, hashtag. What constitutes a real trucker, right? All right, let's go to load availability. Let's go to van. Check my email real quick. Make sure there's nothing urgent. Nope, we're good. Hopefully I'll have a quiet day today. But, knock on wood, right? Look, all I know is no matter how crazy it gets, I've got my coffee, and I got you, my subscribers, all 41 lovelies of you. I've been working on a bunch of shorts and some shorter videos, recorded videos, clipping my stuff. And then there's some member stuff in the works. More of like behind the scenes kind of stuff. Maybe throw some guitar stuff in there, that kind of thing. Snorelord, did you know that you literally have the best smart market channel in the entire internet, and that seriously speaking, you're not going to find and consuming content like you did? Well, thank you for the compliment, Pop Tart. I know that, like, success with trucking, I know that she has the sonar stuff, and so she kind of goes over that. But I think she's struggling because of maybe she doesn't have a driver's perspective, and I think that's where I have some strengths. That's why brokers like to talk to me, because I can give them a driver's point of view. Like CDN yesterday, he texted me, and I got back with him horribly late, but he was trying to quote a lane rate. And he saw how I came up with that rate, and then I saw how he came up with his rate. We both learned, I think, from the interaction. At least I did. And I think CDN did too. And so look, when you see two NFL teams go against each other, they're looking at the strategies that the other team has used against other teams. They want to know everything about their opponent. If you're in warfare, you want to know everything about your opponent. And that it's the same thing. If you want to succeed in the spot market, you got to know something about your quote unquote opponent, which is actually your business partner. Because if you're 100% spot market and you're relying 100% on brokers, why wouldn't you not want to know what they know? Wouldn't you want to know how they come to their decisions? Wouldn't you want to know what tools and how they justify a rate that's below your cost? Wouldn't you want to know why that happens? Don't you want to know the reasons behind the roller coaster and the volatility? I want to know that. Hey, why is the Georgia market like let's say you're brand new to the spot market. Brand spanking new. Only spent 2 years as a CDL holder. You went out and bought your first truck, and you primarily ran Michigan, Ohio, Illinois, Indiana. And you go, wow, they're paying $4,000 to go into Florida. Man, I'm all about that. And you just like book the load and you go. And then when you look at without looking at the rates, and then once you get down in Florida and you start calling on loads and everybody's hanging up on you because you're asking for the same amount of money to come out, and you don't understand that would be very frustrating. So the knowledge of, hey, you're going to get a lower rate out of Florida is important, not only to help you prepare to what you need to do to come out of Florida, but also because you don't want to get frustrated. You don't want your emotions to get the best of you. Next thing you know, you do something that doesn't work. You did, and I had this conversation recently with somebody. To avoid the $1.20 a mile, you deadhead 400 miles, and at the end of the day, all your loaded and deadhead miles, you're making about 90 cents a mile. So that didn't work out, did you? Or did it? Sorry. And so knowing this information on going into any storm that you decide that you're going to navigate through is important. If I'm going through a storm, I want to see the radar. I want to see the forecast. I want to know that there's black ice. I want to know that I can't prevent the black ice. I can't avoid the black ice, but I can at least know strategically how I can deal with it. Okay, I'll shut down here. That will pass. It's going to warm up because the forecast says it's going to warm up. So by this time, it should be clear. I should be good to go. That's how information works. So I appreciate the compliment, Pop-Tart. I don't know. I've never called myself the best at anything other than I have the best beard, I think, on YouTube, but that's about it. CDN, it's more difficult than carriers perceive for a broker to quote some lanes when range is 792 to 50. Are you asking? Is it more difficult than carriers perceive for a broker to quote some lanes when range is 792 to 1500? You need to be competitive to customer, but no carriers are getting paid okay. And that was the question that CDN sent to me yesterday. And if I was a broker, I would hate to have to quote something from Georgia to Oregon, because if you know what the truck costs are, in order to move that load and be competitive to moving loads out of Georgia, you're going to have to be competitively lower to the shipper. Very happy I found this group of professionals. Thanks for letting me hang around so long. Well, thank you, Freight Hauler, Cheap Freight Hauler, and you're a member. So that's a bonus. Knowing is half the battle. G.I. Joe. The other half is violence. I like that. See, and thanks for your help yesterday. I don't know if I thanks. You're welcome. I hope I can give you insight to what drivers are dealing with, because I did that with another broker. The guy called me and goes, "Hey, how come you guys haven't been using us?" I'm like, "Well, because your rates are consistently lower than my driver's cost of operation." What do you mean? So I proceeded to give this guy it was a nice general conversation. I didn't attack him. I didn't use violence or anger against him. I said, well, the average cost of a mile of the truck is this, or the average cost per day of a truck is this. And, and I brought up their load board. I said, no, you got this load. And so look at these rates. And one of your other agents told me you're undercutting other brokers to get this rate with the shippers, not telling the shippers what it takes to move a truck. You're not educating your shippers on why you need more money. All you're doing is going to the shipper and saying, hey, we can move it at $1.50 a mile. So drop this CH guy and who are moving it for $1.75. We'll find some carriers that are suckers. Next thing you know, all their agents are frustrated, badgering all the carriers for trucks. Hey, give me your list. Give me your list. And then they tell you that's all they have in it. And their hands are tied. What kind of cycle what kind of cycle is that anybody wants to stay in? I don't want to stay in that cycle. I would hate to be a broker right now, because a lot of them have underquoted their freight, and rates are rising, volumes are rising. And so they got to prepare for that. Or if their rates are so low and they've got a good core group of carriers that are doing these low rates, and these carriers don't know what their numbers are, and they're consistently losing money every month, not realizing it, eventually they're going to lose their carriers, because they can't sustain. If you're doing rates that are unsustainable for a long period of time, guess what? You're going to go out of business. That's any industry. Only the big major corporations can survive at a loss for a long period of time. How many times have you watched, I hope you would watch Shark Tank, but how many times do you watch Shark Tank? Oh, I've made X amount of dollars, but I've made zero money, zero profit for the last 5 years. I've sold my house. I've sold this. I've sold this. I gave up my kids a college education. Throwing money at this thing. Next thing you know, they haven't made any money. The big corporations can do that. They can take a loss. They can do layoffs. They can make adjustments. But if you're a one truck operation and you're consistently doing this dedicated freight from a broker that's consistently lower than everybody else, and the rates are unsustainable for your operation, eventually some of you are going to go out of business. Don't believe me? Watch Mother Trucker, who talks about how many companies are going out of business. And a lot of them had dedicated freight. Why? Because they kept lowering the rates. Oh, we need to get back to market value. And now you got the AI that's going to make that decision for you. Your 2-year driver scenario would have been me. But thanks to your channel, I avoided that. Thank you for your channel. Well, you're welcome. CDN says I often lose loads to rookie brokers low ball in rates. Exactly. That's there you go. I want you guys to screenshot that because they're going through that too. Just like we get mad when you're bidding you're on JB Hunt's app and you're like bidding, 225 a mile, and then but their asking rate is $1.60 and someone takes it for $1.60. What happens? You get mad. Well, how dare they do that for $1.60? Well, I hope they go out of business. Well, eventually they will. Are you going to out-survive them, or are you just going to work smarter than them? It's no use to sit there and stew over it and be angry about it. Just move on and go like, okay, well, someone needed that more desperately than I needed it. And that's what this market is. That's what you've signed up for to join the spot market. And it could be exhilarating and it could be frustrating even within the same 10 minutes. It's like baseball, right? You can, sometimes you hit a single, sometimes you hit a foul ball, sometimes you strike out, and sometimes you get a home run. I don't know what I'm doing that makes me a Snorelord success story or not, but it's definitely been interesting so far. Life is interesting, right, Buck Brown? You've had some trials and tribulations, my friend. I did too, CDN. I think it's mostly broker taking advantage of the downtimes in the Georgia market, and then they disappear when the market is good for the carrier. Pigtail, what's up? I haven't talked to you in a minute. AI cameras are not a joke. They can literally see everything the driver's doing inside the entire cab of the trucks. They can see the words written on a book laying on their bunk. Yes. And I believe SoCal talked about it, that there's some lawsuits going on about the cameras, and everybody who follows Sterling knows why he's out of the truck, because he didn't like that AI staring at him all day. And I don't blame him. The minute that they require AI, or the minute that they require driver facing cameras, I'll be out. I'll never drive a truck again. As it stands right now, you never know. I could still go back to the truck, but I'll tell you what, I'm not going to apply for any companies that have driver facing cameras, because that's an invasion of privacy. I do a lot of steering wheel drumming. Like, there'd be a good song. I'm like, and I'm just like, doing blast beats, listen to some high quality death metal, just, and I'm just like, I'm singing, and I don't want the cameras seeing that. I mean, that'd probably make for some good YouTube views, but I don't want anything to do with that. Yeah, and they can watch your retina for being tired. That's a little invasive. But you know what? There's a lot of drivers that justify that move because they're watching Netflix going down the road. They're scrolling TikTok as they're going down the road. There was a guy a few years ago that was watching, PORN going down the road because he had to stay awake and kill the family because he slammed right into him. And if you're a trucking company, small or big, all it takes is one rear end accident to take you out. And so, yeah, they're going to keep doing that, and a lot of drivers have justified that move. You got people doing live streams going down the road in semi trucks, reading the comments. And I've said this before. Here's a word of warning. If you've been known to do live streams in a semi truck going down the road, number one, I don't care if you're reading the comments or not. Number two, there might be a time where it's 3 a.m. You're just listening to music. You're not live streaming. Your phone might even be off. and you have an accident, you kill somebody, they're going to look at your phone history and they're going to go, oh, look, here's his YouTube channel, his or her YouTube channel of them live streaming down the road. This person practices unsafe practices, and the lawyer is going to utilize that to get the company, to get the family paid. So this AI is a new reality. Now, the lawsuit that says it's an invasion of privacy, that's interesting because that's how I feel cameras are. And so that might keep it from implementing that, you know, in all trucks, which would be good. But like you guys remember, like about 10 years ago, the Russian dash cam YouTube videos started popping up. And you would sit there like, why do they not have American dash cams? You know, why are there no channels at that time? Now there are, of people in America having crashes on these dash cam videos. Well, because in Russia, it was mandatory to have a dash cam in your car because, or else you couldn't get insurance because the fraud was so high. That's why, and some of the, oh, these are horrible wrecks. I'm going to put this up on YouTube. And then boom, now you got a bunch of views. Some Mrs. A says some of these companies will not be happy until they make machines out of all of us. AI cameras are along the interstate here in North Carolina. DOT has been stopping drivers because they're actually using them on the interstate on temporary poles. DOT are setting up. Yes. And some of the way stations, they'll scan your face as you're going in to see if you look tired. They have the machines that can see the temperature of your tires and your brakes. I mean, it's getting, look, one of the appealing things about becoming a truck driver for me was the independence. Nobody looking over your shoulder all day. You know, as if you're in an office or in a manufacturing facility. Well, throw that out the window. Do you feel independent? No. You might if you're a one truck operation with your own e-log and a dash cam facing outward, you might feel independent. Years ago, there was a movie that foretold current life events, Eagle Eye. I have not seen that. That's Tom Cruise, right? Isn't that the one where this person's telling him, like, hey, you need to do this, this, and this, and he doesn't know why. He's just blindly following it, and, you know, chaos ensues. Pop-Tart Georgia has them now, too. Buck Brown, that movie is called Brokeback Mountain. It's just sort of light today in society. Oh, man, hugs. Even if you don't get charged criminally, the billboard lawyers come after you in a civil suit. Right. And that's the true danger, right? You know, they have if you're a concealed carrier permit holder, they have insurances that you can buy that's basically a lawyer on retainer. And the plan that you want to pick is, you know, if you're in a self-defense thing, it keeps you out of jail, but also you want a plan that keeps you out of a civil suit as well, or it helps you fight a civil suit. And there's been cases where robbers or their families sue the person that shot them in the house that they were robbing and won. I don't know how those lawyers sleep at night, but you know. But hey, it's all about the bottom mighty dollar, right? All right, so this is the van. As you can see, California is green, Texas is green, Missouri, Georgia and Florida green, but it's easy to find a load, just not the load you want, right? That's kind of where we go. Let's look at California. Let's see what's coming out of Cali. Randall and Karen, what's up? I'm hoping to survive this thing called trucking one more year at most. There you go. I know the weight stations have a sensor or something that tells an equipment has bad brakes because it shows which brakes are hotter than the other ones. Yep. Call them super coops. They sleep on a mattress stuffed with $100 bills. That's how they sleep. Yeah. All right. Let's do the highest rate. Let's see what the highest paying thing coming out of California is for van. Look at that. $32,000 to go from Redlands, California to San Marcos, Texas. I'm going to guess that that's not right. It's more like it's probably 3252 is where they're at. Who's a broker? Axle Logistics. They normally don't do that. It's a strategy sometimes that they use. I should email this dude. I'm like, let me know when this can be picked up. I'll have a truck out there regardless. I don't think there's a truck on our fleet that wouldn't go out to California to pick this load up. You can even deadhead to make some money on this one. I don't recommend that because by the time you get there, he's probably found somebody to do it for a mere 15,000. No, that's probably a typo. All right, so let's go to a realistic one. Riverside, California, Norton, Massachusetts, $7,000, 2 extra stops. That's also Axle Logistics, 25,000 pounds. You're going to be on this load for 50 hours or more, probably about 60 hours. So you better have a fresh clock when you start this. Don't know where the extra stops are at, so you have to call or email for information. This is at $872 per day, which is a good profit. Now let's look at the tolls. $252 in tolls. Now they're way above. So you're going to want to know the true mileage. They're at 29.57 on the miles, but again, you got 2 extra stops. Are those stops on the way along this blue line, or is there going to be something that goes southeast and then jumps up north? So you're going to want to look at that. You're going to want to email about that. AI still can't do that for him yet. Here's another one. DSB Road, Torrance, California, Miami, Florida, 7,000, $255 a mile. 165% above my daily cost per day, which is set at $358. Semiconductor equipment, so this is important. 46 hours on this load, but you are going deep into Miami, so you might want to add another 600 miles to this, because you're probably going to deadhead out. Or you're going to grab that shorty that gets you to Jacksonville or Atlanta. It's not really short, for $1 a mile, and then protect the profit from this load. It's going to suck. You're going to hate it. You're going to be angry about it, but that's just the reality of it. You can either deadhead or run cheap coming out of Miami, Florida. If you go cheap, go light. Don't do some 46,000 pound, sugar or paper or water load. That doesn't really protect the profit. 6,800 to go to New Jersey. Let's take a look at this one. Beaumont, California, Piscataway. I can't say that. I'm dumb. $1,000 above the most of the rates. So I wonder if there's fitness equipment, strict pickup, fitness equipment if missed or no show. Your scheduled appointment times, financial penalties will apply. Tolls is you're looking at about $282.70 in tolls. The toll calculator on this tool is really good. So they're paying to come out of California. So proof of that is looking at the inbound. Highest paying load going inbound is coming out of La Crosse, Wisconsin, 223 mile. That's rare. 4 extra stops. That's why. So you can do this load going into California, make your money, and then make your money coming out. Boom, there you go. Now you got your next 2 weeks done. Not fighting with brokers, not fighting with low boards. You got 2 loads booked. You're good to go. and you'll cross the country twice. Enjoy your day, everyone. It's Friday the 13th. Have to get by, y'all. Best smart market channel on YouTube. You got it, Snorelord. Well, thank you. There are people that will argue with you. 7K for a week and only have to deal with one pickup and one drop sounds great right now. It is. But getting out there, that's the challenge because you're looking at a $3,800 week or a $4,300 week or a $3,600 week. So let's say we grab this load from New Jersey to California. So we've got 3,600 plus 7,000 comes out to 10,600. Divide that by 2 weeks, 5,300 a week. So how does that look, right? Now, if you live in California and you know somebody that's got multi-stop freight that goes back to California, that could be something. So this load is 8% below my cost per day. And that's so maybe not pick New Jersey for the state to go all the way to California from. You would want to two-step it. So, all right, let's take a look at reefer. I'm getting close. I'm well over an hour, so we gotta wrap this up, people. Here's a reefer markets. Idaho's green, California's green, of course. Colorado's green, Arizona. See what's coming out of Colorado. You got Hooper, Colorado to Valley View, Pennsylvania. $4,500, $242 a mile. That's good coming out of Colorado. Chloe's got this load. And then inbound California, 309 a mile to go from, that's Colorado, sorry. Maricopa, California to Loveland, Colorado, 3441. You're always going to you should always make good rates going into Colorado. I don't care what platform you're in. And then check your weather. This Morris, Illinois to Aurora, Colorado picks up tomorrow. Let's say there's a storm. Use that to your leverage. Hey, it's supposed to storm like hell Monday morning in Colorado. I need some more money because I might be shut down, once I get there. And they've already thrown more money at this. Oh, it's drop at the shipper. That's why. 12 hours. No, thank you. Unless I lived in Colorado, I'm going home for the weekend. Then, or going home for a couple of days. Then I might do that. There's a bunch of these. And then let's look at flatbed and reefer, or flatbed and step deck. There's your hot mom market. Now, if you guys want to look at the low board yourself, 48065 is my code. There's information scrolling down there to support the channel and support what I'm doing here. If I appreciate everybody that comes in. I've got a pretty steady core. I never get the huge fluctuations of people, but I consistently get the same number, which means I got some good followers. So I appreciate you guys. You make me cry sometimes. All of West Coast looks good for flatbed step deck. Colorado's green again. There's quite a bit of loads coming out, and then, but man, look at the South. Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, those are soft. But then Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Arkansas, Louisiana, Texas. Looks like it's doing pretty good. New York, Minnesota. So anyways, guys and gals, thank you for watching it. Hopefully if you're running this weekend, you're profitable or you're making money as a company driver, that's good. And hopefully your company's profiting so they can pay you well. If you are home for the weekend, enjoy your home time. Look to this channel. Make sure you subscribe to my other channel, Snorelord OG, where I try not to talk about trucking. I talk about other things. So with that being said, strength for today, hope for tomorrow, and aggression turns to screws. And yeah, we'll see. Hopefully, maybe we'll see you Monday. Maybe. Peace.